my statement I texted was, so I wanted to create an Atlanta School for the Arts, and at some point, and I was thinking that it's not necessarily about creating an army of Atlanta artists, but it's really about building a community of young creative problem solvers and empathizers. Because there's a lot of research within art education that art is a really good methodology for teaching students both empathy and then also creative problem solving processes and thinking processes. So my immediate next steps would be to, first of all, learn more about what the art schools are in Atlanta right now, or in Metro Atlanta. So contacting people at the DeKalb School of the Arts, and also at North Atlanta has a small school for the arts, but it's only access for people who live in the North Atlanta high school region. So contacting them to see how many people are actually coming to their school out of region. Because I want this to be something where low-income students do have access to it in Atlanta. Which is the main gap right now. So just learning more about it, and then the second part of that would be researching more about the urban high schools that are successful in different cities in the country, and then making contacts with those people to figure out how they started their schools, and especially like the funding aspect and who they partnered with.
My vision is to develop a high school literacy program for both parents and students. And at this point, I think I need to find out how to get my own reading endorsement so that I can kind of problem solve and know exactly where the shortcomings are for my students. And in addition to that, like Morgan was saying, I think as a high school teacher, you have an inclination to blame everyone who came before you. But really, I have to find out where these problems were created and where we can problem solve, because maybe there's something that can be done when students are younger, so that when they get to high school, they know how to read.
My vision is, within 5 years, my contribution to solving this problem would be to diminish the number of students entering into the special education system, as well as the number of students being sent or enter into the juvenile facilities or alternative schools. My plan is first to research what schools in Clayton County, more specifically, like those that are doing well, what are they doing that is working, and also finding out other schools and even other systems, like what are they doing, like find out what numbers they have that are the lowest, find out what they have implemented that maybe I can use within my school, or even spread throughout Clayton County specifically, to see if we can get those numbers down. And the next plan after that is just to align myself with people who are also trying to achieve that same goal, not necessarily just educational change, but more specifically lowering the number of students in the special education system and the penal system.
Okay, my vision was the building Black boys and girls who can not only think intensively but also critically in order to become problem solvers. And the way I plan to do that is just to, I think, just speak with people who've done it, or just read articles and books about making, cultivating like an environment where they can feel like they can open up and be more organizers and be more leaders in that, and just so they can have more, because I just feel like there's lack of role models and lack of belief in change and lack of belief in their potential to be problem solvers or even like think outside their community.
So my problem is definitely coming from a university standpoint. On the larger scale, I feel like when people go to college, it's very focused on building your resume and getting out versus you actually obtaining education and networking with people that are there at the place and time. So on the bigger level, trying to restructure how we think about university in America specifically, and then in a specific aspect, like how can I ensure that students that don't come from backgrounds of first generation college students, people with low exposures to college systems, how can they both navigate those structures and be successful, as well as give their feedback and their personality and their what they are and as Americans into the college, so that the college can also benefit. I think my next steps to accomplish that, connect back with some of people in student affairs at Carolina that really helped shape my coming up, especially one who actually now works at Georgia Tech, and also getting out of my comfort zone and not just networking with either student affairs people from Carolina or just student affairs people who are Black, but also those who are white or may serve universities in a different aspect that I may necessarily want to go into.
My theory of change has to do with the power of storytelling and its relation to social studies curricula. I'm seeing a disconnect between students' understanding of their own personal histories and how that connects to the things that we discuss in social studies classrooms. And my vision is that if our youth are empowered, pardon me, with the wisdom of their and our past, they can forge a more just and equitable future. The obstacles I see are, first of all, a Eurocentric history curriculum, which is unfortunately something I can't really address right in this moment. I'm looking for more short-term solutions. So instead, what I am seeing also is a lack of a forum to listen and share stories, and a culture around story sharing, and also technology for sharing. So what my next steps are to, one, glean more information from students, not just my students, but youth in the area about their understanding of history, specifically how it connects to the history of this place. And also networking and researching with the storytelling methods that are already out there, things like StoryCorps. What do they do as far as outreach, and how are they connected to the community? And also accessing some of the connections I've already made through Teach for America and other avenues with veteran civil rights activists, especially particularly a gentleman who worked in storytelling and interviewed a number of people for the Smithsonian. So connecting to him, and he was the person who put this idea in my head last year, and kind of figuring out what are the next steps to create a structure where youth can share stories and learn stories from their elders.